The Mexican-American War has been going on for 11 months, and now is the time they'll determine the winner. If the United States win, they will gain more than 525,000 square miles, as today called the Southwest. If Mexico wins, then we will see a world where Mexico is the strongest country in North America. This is Advance to Mexico City. I don't think the Mexican-American War is that well known, considering that it's probably one of the most important wars that we have fought in. You see some of the greatest generals of the time face off against each other. General Winfield Scott versus Santa Anna. And after 11 months into the war, the United States, led by General Winfield Scott, is ready to start the final stage of their plan, which is to occupy Mexico City. But to do this, they first have to land in Mexico. They decided that Veracruz was the best spot to land and start their march to Mexico City. Army and Navy artillery lay siege to the city for 20 days. And on March 9, 1847, General Scott landed 3 miles south of Veracruz and took the city with almost no resistance and with 0 loss of life. Over 10,000 men landed in Veracruz to start their march to Mexico City. Over 10,000. And the conditions for the Americans were brutal. Over 88% of the deaths during the war came from dysentery that was caused by the camp's brutal conditions. 6 weeks since U.S. troops landed in Veracruz, they found General Santa Anna waiting for them with 12,000 men in Cerro Gordo. General Scott needs to come up with a strategy to defeat Santa Anna, and he does just that. General Scott will keep 8,500 of his men, and the rest will go to somebody who will eventually become one of America's most historic men. Captain Robert E. Lee, future general of the Confederacy during the American Civil War. But right now, Robert E. Lee is a captain who is given the task to flank Santa Anna, and he does it. They send Santa Anna running, and while he was running, Santa Anna left 1,000 men to die and over 3,000 men captured by the Americans. And after the battle, there's nothing left for the Americans to do but to keep marching and marching and marching. More men dying to disease. It was probably the most uncomfortable part of the war. You would have blisters on your feet, you would get thirsty, but if you drank the water, you probably got dysentery. It wouldn't be until September 13th for the next battle. That is 5 months of marching, 5 months of living in those conditions, and 5 months of living in a nightmare. And the nightmare was about to get worse. On September 13th was the Battle of Chapultepec. U.S. troops were ordered to charge up a hill to take a fortified castle that was defended by General Nicolas Bravo and 1,000 Mexicans. Over 800 Americans died charging up that hill, but by 9:30, the hill was taken. It was traumatizing for the soldiers to see the men in front of them get cut down and then to have to climb over his body into the musket and cannon fire. But when the castle being in American control, the road to Mexico City was now open. Only 1 day after the Battle of Chapultepec, American soldiers walk into Mexico City after Santa Anna abandoned it. After 6 months since the landing in Veracruz, the United States occupied Mexico City, completing the final part of their plan, but the war was still not over. Santa Anna knew that if he defended Mexico City, they would lose and the city would be destroyed. So he abandoned the city, and on the same day Mexico City fell, he laid siege to Puebla, cutting off the American supply line.
The siege lasted for 28 days, with over 850 casualties before reinforcements could relieve the siege.
Now finally, the Mexican-American War has ended, with over 10,000 men dying in total.
After the Mexican defeat, Santa Anna was exiled by Mexico to Jamaica.
Oh my God!
Since the United States won, they could now buy what is now today the Southwest for $15 million, completing the American Manifest destiny, and soon after, where over $2 billion in gold will be found. Yeah, thank you for watching my video. I spent a really long time on it, and also thanks to my two fish that were in the video, Greg and Richard. And also thank you to my dogs who decided that they want to be as annoying as possible and ruin as many clips as possible. There's probably definitely over an hour of wasted clips from my dogs interrupting me. I'll show you guys some of those after this. There is going to be a bloopers section, and go watch that right now. On September 13th was the Battle of Chapultepec. U.S. troops were ordered to charge up a hill to take a fortified castle defended by General Nicholas. Goose! I'm doing. On September 13th was the Battle of Chapultepec. U.S. troops were ordered to charge up a hill to take a fortified castle defended by General Nicholas Bravo and 1,000 Mexicans. Over 800 Americans. What am I doing?